And everybody, welcome to the December 6th edition of the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I'm Jason Patterson. I want to thank you all for joining us today. A little bit of a different background for me today. Don't even have my Hogville shirt, Dudley. I'm telling you, it's a little bit of a casual Friday going on over here.
And it's always that here. So
yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's been a good Friday. I'm telling you, it was a good Thursday for Mike Neighbors last night, scoring a victory for Arkansas there against Boston College in the SEC ACC Challenge last night.
Yeah, as it started out, you were afraid that Boston College was going to be too experienced and make too many shots. The defense has been a problem, whether it's execution effort, whatever, has been a problem with the Lady Razorbacks. Sometimes it's just personnel. With Danica out, they were kind of short inside. Christina Sanchez come in and played well. Obviously, Jenna Lawrence did as well, and Vera. So they were able to get some things, but Izzy's a player. Izzy Higginbottom with 38. Patrick and I were sitting here thinking, hey, let her get 40, let her get 40. But I think she wants to let somebody else play. Career high 38, big win for them in terms of confidence, in terms of the narrative, everything else. It's still going to be, a tough December for them to get some wins. And then obviously conference play is it's going to be a chore. The only thing you can do is try to get better each day. And that's what they did last night, at least.
I was looking on here. I think that the women did pretty stinking good last night against the ACC. Kentucky falling to North Carolina, but Auburn. Let's see here: Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, LSU, and Missouri all took care of business last night.
Yeah, and they had, I believe it ended up 9-7 or 10-6, one of the two. They obviously didn't dominate the way the men did in the SEC ACC Challenge, but certainly did good today. It was I had the normal 3 TV zone, caught the end of LSU and in their game with Stanford, and Kim Mulkey's a show. That's for sure. She's obviously a great coach, but she's a show. And she got her team fired back up, turned around, started getting the calls after her theatrics, which she is known for. She's also known for winning. So, for the conference, that was a good win.
It was really weird not seeing Tara Vanderveer on the sideline for Stanford. She was an institution. She's been there for over 35 years before she retired, or 40 years, I think. And not seeing her on the sidelines, it was just really odd.
Yeah, and it's it's the same way with when they show Coach Saban in the box at Alabama games. It's Kalen DeBoer has certainly done a good job this year. I'm not going to say great because I know that's not what Alabama feels. We're going to have some fun here Sunday when either the Alabama people cry foul or the rest of the country cry foul. When we see how many SEC teams get in. I got to tell you, the game I'm looking forward to the most is not Georgia, Texas, but Army Navy this weekend. I always love that. Kelly McGregor, who I've known since she was born, when her dad, Kelly McGregor, worked with the assistant athletic department, has done a great job this week in getting there and West Point and kind of giving us the historical lessons via her Instagram. So I've been watching those and pics of the grandson this week on Instagram. So
I was just going to say, I was looking at this Arkansas schedule for just a second with the ladies. They've had a little bit of a trend where win a game, lose 2, win a game, lose 2. They won last night. You don't want to see them lose again. You got Southeast Missouri coming up on the 8th, which is on Sunday, and followed up with Texas Tech coming here on the 15th. I think that Mike has got a chance to start to stack some wins and really give these ladies some confidence heading into conference play here coming up here in a couple weeks.
Well, the interesting thing is that this will be the last game, as it appears, without Felix Stockton, the point guard from Haarlem, Netherlands, who has been here, I guess, a full year now. She had an eligibility issue that kept her from playing. She'll be able to play the 15th against Texas Tech in the I took a hit for the team, or me and our photographer John D. James did, and went to the catfish show for Coach Neighbors' get together. Diamondbacks basketball team, similar to what all sports do, pretty much. And he raves about her, when she's been like in practice. They've been getting her. They want her to play 30 minutes as soon as she's ready to go. They've been getting her in shape. She'll help take the ball handling load off of Izzy a little bit, and so he's anxious to see that. Now I'm sure that he would love to have a 6'7" post player to throw in there as well. But again, you got to give them credit last night, because their 6'1s and 6'2s fought hard and were able to get keep some boards alive even if they didn't grab them.
Kiki Smith, she also added 15 points last night. That was a great game from her.
Yeah, and by the end of the year, I'm going to be able to make sure it's K-I-K-I. A lot of times I go K-E-K-E. So she was last year's National Junior College Tournament Player of the Year. Definitely a scorer. Reminds me of Joe Dumars and Benny Johnson and some of those Detroit Pistons back in the day, came off the bench and lighted up. But I think overall that was a good win for them last night against a team that I think was really favored to beat Arkansas for a variety of reasons. Experience being the main.
I'm going to try to pronounce her name, Vera Ojinawa.
Good for you.
Got it. She almost got a double-double last night, 8 points, 10 rebounds. She was solid last night inside for the Lady Razorbacks too.
The big thing with her is foul trouble. When she is able to play, upwards of 25 to 30 minutes, and they get the ball inside to her, and obviously Izzy and the others don't have to take so many three-point shots, although you want that to be part of your game. You don't want it to be the sole focus. Obviously, she's had games against Little Rock. I'm getting used to saying that instead of ULR. Had games against Little Rock and a couple of others where she certainly had good numbers when she's been able to stay on the floor. She was able to do that last night. They were rotating, as we see, Christina Sanchez in, and she had some very good minutes for them. She, by the way, is like talking to Penelope Cruz when you're interviewing her, with Granada, Spain, and all that. But I think it's a matter of when you don't have as many bodies, especially inside, as you'd like to have, to be able to stay out of foul trouble and get some rest and then get right back in there. And rebounding is going to be a key for them throughout the season, especially as they get into conference play. And they were able to do that last night.
Yep, they were. Also, I want to switch over to high school football here in just a minute. Y'all see behind me last night some highlights from the Lions game. Big shout out to Jake Bates. Another game-winning field goal for the Lions. Dude just keeps delivering time after time. They're 11-1 now.
Yeah, and it's nuts. I mean, obviously, two guys from last year's team that were kickers that both started their careers as soccer players and were talked into coming out of the football team, and now making whatever's really good kicker money in the NFL. And speaking of money, that's what he's been here lately. And we have what we're calling a future son-in-law. He's a big Green Bay Packer fan, so we're tuning in to a few more of the Packer games these days. Patriot has learned to say "Go Pack" really well. Now go get the ring, right? But that was a really good game last night. That's the best conference in football right now. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And probably somebody's going to get left out or have to play a high seed and get knocked out early. But there's some really good football teams in that division, and I think you probably get a pretty good bet right now with Kansas City and Detroit in the Super Bowl.
I think that would be a really fun matchup. I really do. I think that would be. But here's the thing, though. Kansas City's got to get there first. They've been piecemealing this thing all season.
Philadelphia is good enough. They've had their issues. They're on a roll right now. They get the opportunity to play team in their own division, which is helpful to them. Big win for them the other night. I tell you what, again, I think you and I talked about this. I'm looking forward to Monday night, Cowboy game. Not particularly because they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, but because it's going to be the Simpsons animated.
Yes, it is.
Edition on ESPN Plus and Disney. looking forward to that because at least I know I will have some laughter. It might not be at the Cowboys' expense in that game. I've been laughing all season. It's been the wrong kind of laughing. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun too, and they're also going to have the Manning cast with that as well. So there's, I mean, I don't know. I know that, when Troy and Joe signed up to do Monday Night Football, I mean, they knew that there were some things in the works, but I mean, I don't know if they actually foresaw some of the things that ESPN and ABC are doing. I wouldn't say to take eyes away from them in the traditional telecast, but having all of these additional telecasts on the side to bring in more eyes. It seems like sometimes it might be diverting eyes from the original telecast to these others on the side.
Well, I can tell you which one. I mean, I love obviously the ABC ESPN crew that does the games. Both are part of my professional teams, at least announcing, quarterbacking, whatever. But I will be glued to the Simpsons just because I like to see some stuff different. And as I said, I'm sure that it's going to be quite funny to see a few of the promos they've had for it. And looks cool. CD Lamb's excited that he has Bart Simpson's sister's lips.
They have got to get Bart a touchdown chain.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So I think his little sister's Lisa, right? I hadn't watched it
yes.
in a while.
Yeah, you got Lisa and you got Maggie also. That I think it'd be funny though if they did get Bart a diamond crusted touchdown chain. I think that would be hilarious. So I want to turn everybody's attention to Arkansas high school football playoffs. You've got 3 championship games this weekend, 5A, 6A, and 7A that are going to be taking place down in Little Rock. It's going to be a very, very hectic time at War Memorial.
The 2A coming up here noon too, between Conway Christian, who has gone from 0 wins in 2020 to 13 this year, and they're playing for the state championship. East Poinsett County, who is always been a bastion of athletes over there. That should be a good game coming up at noon on your Arkansas PBS channels. Yep. Then you've got the 3 higher class games left this weekend as well. That's what I've been focusing on a lot this week. And there's a lot of great stories, a lot of great coaches and kids who persevered. Some of these teams are used to being there all the time, but a lot of I would say at least half the 10 teams that are playing this weekend are great stories, great narratives to have in the tight game. Strong Midland played last night in the 8-man playoffs. Midland had done a great turnaround, go from 1-7 to undefeated 11-0 going into last night's game. Strong was just a little too. I'll go ahead and use the button. Strong. Last night, a lot of speed. Midland had some turnovers, but congratulations to both those teams for getting the Little Rock War Memorial, because when you're a high school kid, that's where you want to play for sure.
It is. 5A. They are going to be playing tonight at 6:30. You've got Little Rock Parkview against Farmington. That if you want to watch some former some future Razorbacks, that would be the game to go watch. Would be this evening, 6:30 on. You can watch it, like you said, on PBS with here around the state. I really am anticipated by that one, or I'm anticipating that one. I think that one's going to be a great matchup. Got to cover Farmington last year with the Democrat, and got to go to a few of their games. That was always a lot of fun. They had a couple of close games. They even beat Springdale last year, which, Brett Hobbs had a great season there at Springdale. But, Farmington, you could kind of see the writing on the wall. They had some seniors that left, but they still had a lot of good players and that were coming up, graduating from junior to senior. They make it to the, state finals, and their unfortunate reward is Parkview at the end of the year. So
Parkview had 4 kids obviously with the D1 major schools yesterday or Wednesday, I guess it was. It is a matchup of 2 really good coaches, 2 guys that I've worked with for many, many years now. Obviously Coach Tommy Tice, he was at Harrison Huntsville coming out of retirement to take this job at Farmington, and obviously it's worked out really well for him. As good as the Parkview kids are, they're great. Brad Belding knows that he's facing a quarterback in Aiden Lester, who is somebody that just makes plays.
Yep.
I compared him to Diego Avila, the quarterback at Vanderbilt. You look at him, he's not a specimen per se. It doesn't have the measurables that maybe colleges are looking for, but he's just a player that makes plays. And his Little Parkview's coach Brad Belding said he'll dance back there for 8 or 9 seconds. If you don't get to him, and he'll find somebody open. His receivers do a really good job of getting open. I expect it to be entertained. Parkview will be going for their third straight state championship. They'll go into the game's favor, but I certainly wouldn't count Farmington out running a dream season right now.
Yep, they are. Again, 6:30 this evening on PBS. Then you have got the 6A final coming up on Saturday. That will be at it's kind of okay. At noon, you've got Greenwood versus Shiloh, 2 powerhouses here in North and Northwest and West Arkansas, with both of those teams, battling each other. Greenwood, they're number 1 out of the West, and then Shiloh, number 2 out of the West. They'll be facing each other. Shiloh got a pretty good victory over Benton, 45-32 to reach the final, and then Greenwood stomped Mountain Home 42-0. I feel like this is more of a collision course, is what Stu Gotts and that crew over there with former ESPN guys. I mean, that's what they say, and this is what it is. This is a collision course here at the very end of the season. It's going to be a great one at noon.
Yeah, and I got a chance to talk to both those coaches this week as well. Obviously, Greenwood's had a terrific season on the field. Obviously, losing young Mr. Isaiah Erickson in the house fire was devastating. The community's kind of come together. Asked Young if they were kind of playing for him. He said it's more a matter, they certainly want to win, but they have the same mindset that all Greenwood teams do. They're supposed to be the last team standing at the end. Obviously, Kane and Cash Archer get a lot of the publicity, but Greenwood is solid. Both offense, defense, and special teams have had a great year. Shallow Christian, they played Greenwood, and it was tied at halftime. They were without Cole Crichton. Shallow was the quarterback. Kane Archer got hurt in that game. For Greenwood, their quarterback, their outstanding quarterback. It was one of those things where both teams were not at full strength. I don't think that's going to be the case either this weekend. But you've had 2 teams that I think it's 7 years in a row. Greenwood's gotten to a championship game, 6 for Shiloh, something in those lines. Those teams know how to win. They're both teams that take your kids from the 4th grade on and like the same system and grow up in that, and they know where to be, know what to do, know what plays they're running. It's a true system with great athletes on both of these.
Shout out to Cash Archer. He signed with UCA on Wednesday, linebacker. And I also saw where, I don't know if it was him or somebody had put it out there, said if he was just 2 inches taller, probably would be a Razorback at this point. I don't think that that's the case. I think that it might be a good fit for Cash going to UCA, getting a year or 2 under his belt, and maybe doing the popular thing that a lot of college kids now do, and they're transferring out.
I think when you have talented athletes in the state, Kane Archer certainly is. Obviously a lot of offers. He was getting them very early on. Cash, as you said, doesn't meet the so-called measurables. I've watched him play many times. Again, he's a player. I wouldn't even have thought twice about it. I would have offered him very early on for a couple reasons. And one, I think he's a heck of a football player. That's the number one. The second of all, package deals or part of Arkansas's history. Obviously, I was one with Charles Valentine back in the day. Todd Day, Daryl Anderson. It's on and on and on. It is the Haas brothers, Dylan and Luke. Right now, I think it's part of the process. It hadn't changed with NIL and all that. Yeah, so the they don't ask my opinion on the recruits over there, but I would certainly have tried my best to win both of these. Now, obviously, it looks like they're probably not going to get either.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Grant Morgan coming out of high school. A little undersized, but still had a hell of a heart. I mean, never know. I mean, whenever you have Arkansas kids that have that want to not only play but excel, those are the your key component, or your core components of your football team at the next level. I would like, also personally, I would like to have seen him be a Razorback, just from my own personal standpoint, because those are some of the kids that you do need in that locker room that understand what being a Razorback and growing up a Razorback is, because it helps kind of tie the rest of that team in. But again, he's going to UCA, so we'll have to see where his journey goes.
And I don't really care where kids go. Because I was involved with the basketball program back in the early 80s, the SEC, it was the SWC back then, and the SEC in the 90s made it clear that I was an alum, and I couldn't be telling anybody where they needed to go. Wouldn't have done that anyway. But what I do say is, over these course of the 40 years plus years that I've been covering Arkansas athletics, I know that there has to be a fine mix between in-state athletes and out-of-state athletes. Saw a big argument on X, Twitter, Icebox, whatever it's called these days, that you got to quit recruiting so many Arkansas kids, or you got to get them. You'd rather have a kid from Dallas, this and that. All I know is when Arkansas has won, at least half of their significant players have been from Arkansas, and it's a little bit of free agency, obviously, in college athletics now, but there's a pride for playing for your state, playing for your community. I think we've gotten away from that a little bit on the side of that up here. Now, you got to win football games to draw athletes. I think we started out talking about Parkview. I guess half of those are coming here, half are going elsewhere. As I've said on a couple of radio shows and podcasts earlier this year, they've done a really good job out of state. Not great, really good job out of state getting kids, but obviously it's not been what they want to in the state of Arkansas. And it's interesting. Wednesday was quite the scene with, obviously the UCLA kids, commits flipping here, and some Arkansas kids not knowing that was going to happen. Stay tuned, as they say.
Exactly. That was a tremendous flip that Sam and really, I wonder what kind of a hand Bobby had into that and bringing in the quarterback coach, with what kind of ties him and Sam have to that guy over in Cal Poly that's going to be the Arkansas quarterback coach. I didn't hear any of the backstory on how that kind of match rated. Have you yet?
A little bit. I know that obviously UCLA let their offensive coordinator go, and we're getting a new one. And apparently Arkansas was sneaking through the back door there. That's how the game is played. You can't worry about friends. You can't worry about feelings. You got to go get football players. And from all indications, these two that they got from UCLA are going to be very good. They certainly up the narrative of the Arkansas class, up the profile of it. Got a lot of publicity out in California, and one of the good things about it is that quarterback, young Nico's brother, and Madden, and I'm going to try to say the last name. I still haven't got that down yet, but he'll be here in January. He'll go through spring practice, and that's important. With Malachi Singleton transferring out, which is not surprising. And you got KJ still here. Not Jefferson, but Jackson. Austin Ledbetter still here. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the transfer portal, which, by the way, opens Monday, and it's going to be a busy time with visits, and I think through the end of the month. And they changed it so many times, but I think right now that is the only period right
now. Yeah, it's Monday is going to be like a rinse and repeat for us, trying to keep track of all the players that maybe not the school has contacted, but the school has signed, and that will be coming in at semester. That I feel like that's going to be kind of, you know, Otis's life has basically been between portal and with National Signing Day. That's why I gave him a rest last night, gave him a blow, and had Jerry come on because, I mean, poor guy's kind of tuckered out a little bit. I wouldn't say tuckered out, but I think he just wanted to break for a minute, more or less.
Yeah, his team, his Lakers injured and not playing well, and that adds to his pain, as we all know. This guys just like I do, feelings wise. With not everybody can have an 18 championship.
You gotta put the Celtic flex on for just a second.
Can till they got a new championship.
Yep, that is true. You got the rest of the season up until June to be able to flex on that one. The 7A state final this Saturday, tomorrow night, 6:30. You got Bentonville, which is one seed out of the West, taking on Bryant, one seed out of the Central. I really am looking forward to that. Bentonville survived Conway, which survived Rogers 2 weeks ago. Bryant, on the other hand, they beat PA pretty handily, 41-7, and they also shut out Cabot in their path to the final. Jody Grant just seems to keep winning. No matter what happens with that team, have a quarterback that goes down for a few weeks, think that they might be down this year. They're not this year. They come back. It just seems like he finds a way to win and get in. It's so interesting to see how once they get to the playoffs, it's like they can flip a switch and it instantly happens for them sometimes.
Well, I think the measure of a great football coach is not somebody who has the X's and O's ready for the game. It's not the first 15 plays, in college that they put on a sheet and try to run. I think the measure of great football coach, great football staff has been able to make adjustments. That's certainly what Coach Grant has been able to do each year. Certainly the case this year. They were 0-3, lost to Conway, in that third game. Obviously avenged that defeat last weekend. They knocked Bryant out last year when Bryant was trying to go for a sixth straight state championship. It's cool to have this rematch this year. Although Dwight Sanders, the Bryant coach, is very clear about he doesn't see his kids viewing this as a revenge game. They view it as the last time they lost, and they don't want to do it again. And obviously, this has not been a thing they do a lot of down there. Bryant should same up here in Bentonville. Should be a great game between two programs that nobody's surprised at all to play in the final game.
Well, for this last part before we get you out of here, Dudley, we had talked a little bit about this, and last night Jerry and I were able to pay a little bit of a tribute to Bob Holt. Otis had a great story that he had published and with Bob's memory and everything. I want to kind of give you a little bit of the floor and share some of the moments and some of the great times and stories that you've had with Bob in the years that you have worked alongside with him, beside him, with him, and basically any and every sport that you can think of it on the Hill.
Anybody that knows me knows that I try to deal with each day with humor, laughter, a positive outlook. I was fortunate some over 15,000 days ago to survive a car wreck. My parents were told I wasn't going to make it, and obviously been able to do that. I think it's very important to live your life like there's no tomorrow. Like it's your last day and all that, and do whatever you can to get yourself in a position to be able to be there the next day. It's been tough this week, obviously. Bob was the best of us. He certainly was a great sports writer, but I'm talking about just being a man and a friend and a guy who did things the right way, truly on and off. It is so hard going to be so hard at the next press conference when it's not Bob, get us started, which has been thing that's said at the press conference. The true measure of the man is how beloved he was. The outpouring of support and sympathy. And they talk about him being a consummate professional, and he was. We had some guys who would come in for press conferences who didn't know Bob, didn't know that he was 40 minutes ahead before Coach Richardson. He
was
got that table going, but he did do it. He wasn't in a mean way. He would ask tough questions when he had to. If you didn't answer the question the way you wanted to first time, he'd ask it to you again, second, third, fourth, fifth time. All that, it was always entertaining early in my career and late in my career to watch Nate Allen and Bob Holt. Nate wants to get out of the press conference. Bob wants to stay there forever. So watching their faces is, and that has been pure entertainment. I can't say enough about him. There have been so many great stories. Clay Henry, Matt Jones, Otis, as you mentioned, obviously our colleague Miss Orange and Courtney Mims did great jobs with tributes last night. It's just the true measure of a man is how you go about, what people think about you when you're gone, and everybody is just nodding him, and it's just unthinkable. People are saying, I've heard people say that it's appropriate, or like the word appropriate in the situation, but yeah, he was at Missouri. He loved Missouri. He loved having his journalism degree from Missouri. He loved his Detroit Tigers. He loved his Green Bay Packers. I don't care who wins Detroit, Green Bay, really, but I was kind of rooting for Green Bay to win Bob's honor last night. And a huge shout out, by the way, to Mike Neighbors and the basketball team, and not only getting the win last night, but having a moment of silence for Bob. Again, he was just a class guy. He's what we all wanted to be in terms of being a professional. And I just can't say enough about him. And it's going to be hard. I wish his family the best. And that family is not just the ones that were born blood-wise. It is a community here. It's a community in Arkansas. It's a community all over the United States. And I think we saw the special person that he was and how people out in history.
Yep. I read a story from Ron Higgins this morning with a tribute to Bob as well. That was a really good one. I read the one from Clay last night, and that was really good too. Otis's was really good as well. And it's, I guess, from what exactly from, maybe you think from a national scale what some writers mean to other writers, because like you said, it's a small group as everybody kind of matriculates across the U.S. and get different jobs in different areas. To see the outpouring from every corner of the U.S. for Bob was something that was so nice to see. I saw where Tom Murphy had posted, said that he was reading all of the stories. He was, laughing, crying. It was helping heal a little bit for him because he worked alongside Bob for the last 15 years. And I saw a picture with you. Daryl Macon had posted this on his Twitter account, where you were in the front row there and opposite side of Bob. And those sorts of things where you've got players that are also reminiscing. Kamani Johnson, for instance, those sorts of things really tell you how much Bob meant to these people, because you go back and forth, and I know that there was a term called you just got bobbed, because you're going to get 4 questions 4 different ways for the same answer that he's trying to get. But those people respected him because he was so relentless on trying to get the story out that needed to be written for those people in such a professional way. They didn't mind the questions because they respected him so much.
Yeah, the measure of a man, woman, person, human being, however you want to put it, PC, woke-wise, all these days, is what people say after you're gone. Obviously, people said great things while Bob was here. It's been we've been inundated with stories and conversation about what a great guy he was. A lot of people might use hyperbole in situations. There's no hyperbole in this situation. They all truly mean what they say. I consider him one of the best friends that I've had. It was interesting. He was a great dude. Maybe not most culturally picked up. He didn't. I had to explain to him what OGs were one time. They were not old guys. But it is so much fun being around him all these years. You learn from him as a person. You learn from him as a writer, and we're all going to miss him. And it's just, it'd be Ryan Mallett, it'd be Alex Collins, it'd be Charles Valentine, Bob Holt, and everybody take care of yourself. My wife Petra is doing her best, feeding me salads and shakes, and get me walking and keep me healthy. We all need to recommit to being healthy and taking care of ourselves and our family situations.
Yep. I do have one more little quib I want to add to the end of the Bob Holt thing. Scotty Bordelon, 2 years ago when they were in San Francisco, they were covering Arkansas's basketball run. And I saw him post a tweet and said, my entertaining evening was Bob asking me when he was transcribing JD Note, what does it mean? What does no cap mean? that made me laugh. And then Scotty had to, and a couple others explained to him because JD had mentioned no cap, and which meant no lie, and Bob couldn't figure out what in the world it meant. It was so funny. It was one of those little quibs where it, like you said, he had to kind of turn that corner with being cultural and understanding the lingo with some of the younger players and stuff. And I thought that was just real funny.
Yeah, I told him one time, nice flex. He said, I wasn't trying to look beefed up. No, it's not it, man. It's not it. He was talking about his Tigers and how well they played this year, obviously, and made the run into the playoffs, and he's gentle soul and the best of us, like I said.
Yep. Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for joining us this morning for the Arkansas Diamond Report. Dudley and I will be back at it next Friday. We'll take a look and see how Mike and the ladies fare on the court. They got a couple of games this week, and any new news that shakes out, we'll also go over that as well. We'll also have some talk about some state champions. Got 4 games this weekend, got 4 games next weekend. And so we'll 3 games next weekend. And we'll just kind of go over that, and we'll see you guys next week. Dudley, take care, man. And go Hogs. Y'all, it's time for some damn good tacos in college football. We're excited to announce our title sponsor, Torchy's Tacos, for the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk, and the new addition to the Hogville.net family, the Arkansas pregame show starring former Hog running back Marshall Foreman, hosted by Jason Pattison. If you're looking for a place to unwind and call the Hogs, Torchy's is the place. Torchy's location on MLK in Fayetteville is the proud host of the Arkansas pregame show, and it will air 2 hours prior to kickoff of each Fayetteville home game. The Arkansas Football Report airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Rogers. Check out the full-service bar on the patio or in the restaurant while you cheer Arkansas on to victory. Torchy's has you covered with the daily drink specials or the taco of the month with their queso that's made in-house fresh daily. Torchy's has 2 convenient locations in Northwest Arkansas, which happen to be the only 2 locations here in the great state of Arkansas. They have you covered for some damn good tacos, and go Hogs.